Welcome to the Kendo and Iaido Italia podcast in this English language version. Enjoy listening.
Welcome to a new episode of our podcast. Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're doing a deep dive into, well, a really powerful symbol, the Japanese katana. And we're not just talking about the blade itself, but the whole 1,000-year-old code of conduct that goes with it.
Exactly. And you shared some great sources from trainees, martial arts experts, and they all stress this point. The katana was historically seen as the samurai's soul. It's an object that demands really an incredible level of reverence. You just don't handle it casually.
Right. So whether you're maybe thinking about buying one someday, or you're just visiting a shop in Japan, or maybe even starting out in martial arts like iaido or batodo.
Which are the traditional arts focused on drawing and using the sword, for those who might not know.
Yeah, exactly. So knowing these rules, these sort of unwritten laws, it's essential.
It's more than just good manners. Knowing these 5 major taboos is really about safety, about showing the discipline needed to even be around such a weapon. So our mission today is to cover these 5 key rules, kind of going from most to least severe, and link them back to the core philosophy of Budo, the martial way.
Okay, let's start right at the top then, the absolute biggest one. Taboo number 1, goofing around with the katana. My first thought is, well, duh. I mean, who would actually goof around with a razor-sharp sword? Seems obvious, right?
It does seem obvious, but what's interesting here is that the rule goes way beyond just, not cutting yourself. It's about the mental state that's central to Budo. And the temptation, especially now with anime and movies, to treat it like a prop. It's real. And it completely shatters the proper mindset, something called zanshin.
Zanshin, right. That's the constant awareness, the lingering focus. How does joking around break that?
Well, if you think about the bigger picture, the whole point of iaido training is total mental and physical control. One of the sources talked about instructors at the Kido Samurai experience. They'd give serious safety talks, but still have guests trying to, swing the swords wildly.
Oh, no.
Yeah, shouting anime attack names like Gesugata Tenshu or trying to strike poses.
Wow, okay, I can picture that. It just turns this potentially deadly thing into a toy.
Exactly. The second you bring in jokes or showing off, you lose that zanshin. You lose respect for the inherent tension required. The ultimate aim in iaido is actually to be so strong, mentally and physically, that you don't need to draw the sword. There's a key saying. The true battle should be done within the sheath.
Ah, okay. So drawing it for a gag completely disrespects that core idea of peace through readiness. The joke itself undermines the necessary tension. That makes sense why it's taboo 1. It's a failure of the mind first.
Precisely. And if that mental attitude is number 1, then how we physically handle the sword has to reflect that. Which brings us neatly to taboo number 2, which is, well, surprisingly common.
Taboo number 2, using the katana as a cane. Okay, how does this happen? I guess when trainees get a bit too relaxed.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe using the sword to help stand up after sitting seiza, that formal kneeling position, or leaning on it while the instructor's talking.
Seems minor compared to swinging it around, but I take it's still a big deal.
It is, because it's seen as a failure of discipline. You have to always remember the katana is considered something higher than you. Handling it properly, respectfully, that's part of how you learn discipline, humility. Using it like a crutch just turns it back into an ordinary object.
But hang on, didn't the sources mention a kind of historical twist here? Didn't actual samurai sometimes use their swords as canes?
Ah, yes, that's a really important distinction. Historically, you're right. On a battlefield or traveling, the sword was a tool. Practicality mattered. Leaning on it if you were tired or hurt. That made sense. But the purpose of modern iaido isn't battlefield utility anymore. It's shifted. Now we practice for courtesy, for control, for spiritual discipline. So the modern rule treats the sword as a symbol of that journey, not just a practical tool.
That difference, utility versus symbolism, really clarifies the modern dojo rule. Okay, let's move to taboo number 3. This one sounds like it had very real, very dangerous consequences historically, hitting each other's sheaths or scabbards.
Right. Picture this. 2 samurai, both wearing their swords on their left hip, as was standards. They're passing each other, maybe in a narrow street. It's easy for their scabbards, the saya, to accidentally bump or clash.
And why was that such a catastrophe? The sources called it the most humiliating act, something that could damage the soul of a samurai. It wasn't just a bump.
No, not at all. It was loaded with meaning. The scabbard protects the blade, the soul. So striking it, even accidentally, wasn't just risking damage to the wood. It was seen as a potential challenge, like you were disrespecting their readiness, maybe even trying to knock them off balance or prevent them from drawing smoothly. A huge provocation.
Wow. So it could escalate instantly from an accident to a duel?
It absolutely could, and apparently often did. This explains two really big historical rules we still know about. First, why all samurai had to wear the katana on their left side, even if they were left-handed. It standardized the position.
Okay.
And second, it's believed to be the reason why the rule developed in Japan to walk on the left side of the road. It created space, specifically to stop swords bumping as people passed.
That's incredible. The rule of the road coming from avoiding scabbard clashes, that's a great historical detail.
Isn't it? And even today, practicality matters. These sheaths are often lacquered wood. A hard knock can damage them.
So it's physical discipline again, being aware of your weapon, your space, other people.
Exactly. Which leads us nicely into the last two taboos. Let's start with number 4, stepping over a katana.
Okay, my first question, and maybe the listeners too, is, if the sword's so important, why would it ever be just lying on the floor?
That's a fair question. It reflects life in the dojo. The sword is laid down sometimes, but only during specific actions, like when you're changing into your gi and hakama, or when you place it in front of you to perform a formal seated bow before or after practice. So situations exist where it's on the floor near you. If you're not mindful or you stand up quickly, it's easy to just step right over it.
And the reason that's taboo is, well, it sounds pretty straightforward.
It is, actually. It's just seen as incredibly rude. Profoundly disrespectful. The analogy used in the sources is really vivid. Stepping over a katana is like stepping over the face of someone who's taking a nap on the floor.
Ooh, okay. That paints a picture.
Yeah. It treats this sacred object like it's just an obstacle, something insignificant you have to get past. You're literally putting yourself physically above it.
That analogy makes the level of disrespect crystal clear. It connects respecting the object right back to respecting a person.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
All right, finally, taboo number 5. And this sounds like the one everyone needs to know, whether you train or not, like if you're just visiting a shop, randomly handing a sword over.
Yes, this is absolutely key. It's about basic safety and manners when transferring what is, let's not forget, a weapon. If you're in a shop looking at katana or an instructor passes you one in class, there's a very specific procedure for how you receive it and how you hand it back. You don't just pass it like a baseball bat.
Okay, so what's involved? What's the proper way?
Well, when you're handing a sheathed katana to someone else, the absolute rule is the curve of the blade, the cutting edge side, must be facing towards you, the person handing it over. And the handle, the tsuka, should be oriented towards the person receiving it. You generally present it horizontally, holding it with both hands.
Right. Edge towards yourself, handle towards them. Why that specific way?
It's about safety and communication. If the sharp edge is facing the receiver, it could be seen as aggressive, or at least careless. You're pointing the danger at them. By turning the edge toward yourself, you're showing you've taken responsibility for the dangerous part. It demonstrates trust, respect, courtesy. It signals this is a controlled, safe transfer. You're showing care for the person receiving it, whether it's shop staff or your instructor.
That one detail edge towards you really sums up a lot of this, doesn't it? It's immediate safety, but also deep courtesy and respect all rolled into one action.
It really does. So to quickly recap, 1, don't goof around, that's mental awareness. 2, don't use it as a cane, physical humility. 3, avoid hitting sheaths, social discipline, and respect for others. 4, never step over it, respect for the sacred object. And 5, always follow the procedure for handing it off. That's courtesy and control combined. They're all foundational.
And tying it all back, like we said at the start, it leads to that really interesting paradox, doesn't it? These arts, iaido, budo, they're about mastering arguably one of the deadliest weapons ever created.
Exactly. And yet, the ultimate goal isn't violence at all. It's about achieving profound peace. Not by ignoring conflict, but by achieving such complete control over your body, your mind, and understanding the potential for violence so well that violence becomes totally unnecessary.
So knowing these rules, these detailed points of etiquette, it's really the very first step on that discipline path. It's fascinating how something as simple as which side of the road to walk on connects to inner control.
Indeed. Understanding the etiquette really is the beginning of understanding the philosophy.
A fantastic deep dive. Thanks so much for sharing those sources that let us explore this.
Thank you for listening to this podcast.
Kendo Iaido Italia, il podcast.